Hope to open here in April the 12th, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, if the figures are good, then we shall be open to a certain amount of lodge guests, hopefully, and all of our experiences as well. So if you've booked something with us, we'll be in touch with you and we'll let you know what's going on with that. See more information once we've decided exactly how it's all going to work safely here at the Big Cat Sanctuary, so you can come and enjoy and come and see our cats in person right here at the Big Cat Sanctuary, which is really exciting news, and exciting news for everyone around the country and the world, that we may be coming out of this into the summer and back to some sort of normality, whatever that might be in the future. We are here today, though, first off, with the smallest cat on site and possibly the smallest cat in the world, our little Nuwara. And we've got James Bibby with us as well. Hi,
morning.
James.
All right.
Good. So, James, we're going to go and meet again this lovely little lady who we rarely see, and also very rarely seen out in the wild as well, James, I believe.
Exactly, yeah. So small cats anyway are generally really elusive, but these guys are no exception. If anything, they're probably one of the more elusive out of all the small cats because of their small size. They come from the real dense rainforests out there in Sri Lanka, so we don't see them very often. And those traits, they're still exhibited here in captivity too. So she's one of our more secretive cats on site.
Amazing. You can see, ladies and gents, she is absolutely tiny. Very cute, but very feisty as well in her character, James.
Certainly is, yeah. You see that quail that she's got there didn't last long. Very sort of food motivated. She's very keen to get as much food as she possibly can out there in the wild. She doesn't know when her next meal's coming. She doesn't know if there's going to be a bigger animal that's going to come along and take that food off her.
So that'll be part of that aggression, James, will it? The fact that, you know, that sort of feistiness that she's got, it's actually competing for food with other animals.
Exactly.
And being a smaller cat, she's not an apex predator in her environment.
Exactly, yeah. She's got lots of bigger predators coming from Sri Lanka. She'll be living alongside things like the Sri Lankan leopard, for example, even some bears in that area, and even things like big birds of prey could be a threat to Nuwara. And we try and mix it up as much as possible for her here at the sanctuary as well. She never knows when that next meal's coming, how it's going to be presented. So she's always very switched on to what's going on, but very keen to get as much food as quickly as possible.
Amazing. So she is a Sri Lankan rusty spotted cat. Where else in the world would you find a rusty spotted cat like this, James?
So there are only 3 types of rusty spotted cat that we know about. There are 2 from Sri Lanka. Nuwara here is one of those variations. There is also a type from India too. So out there in Asia is where they're found, in the real dense jungles, in the dense rainforests, that kind of thing. But because we know so little about them, there's no reason why there couldn't be another population elsewhere that we just haven't discovered maybe yet. There's no reason. There's lots of places out there in Southeast Asia where they could be living. But yeah, at the minute we only know of a population in India and Sri Lanka.
Amazing. And you say sort of out in the jungles, out in the forests out there. So her little enclosure here that we've got, that's sort of representative of the sort of environment that she'd be living in out there?
Exactly, yeah. You see we've got lots of nice high walkways, we've got some high up shelters for her, and it's really nicely densely planted as well, which could make seeing her a little bit more challenging at times.
Yeah.
But it means it replicates the environment that she'd naturally be living in, which is of course a lot better for her.
Tucking into her breakfast of quail this morning.
So we feed her twice a day. Being so small, she's got a much quicker metabolism than a lot of the other cats, which may just feed several times a week. So we feed her every day, sometimes 3 times a day, sometimes twice a day. We mix it up as much as we can for her.
Amazing. There we go. And so she's eating a bit of quail there. So diet-wise, James,
Yeah.
out there in the wild, what would she be going after? What would she be eating out in the wild?
To be honest, anything she can get her claws on. So they've got a huge range of prey. They can prey on certain invertebrates, they're so small that insects make a nice snack for them, small rodents, small reptiles and amphibians, and there is even some footage of them taking or attempting to take down prey much bigger than them, things like small deer, for example. There has been footage of these guys trying to take down. So you see they've got that attitude, so whatever they can manage, they'll give it a good go. But
Yeah, it's really interesting. I read a thing about a naturalist in the 19th century who had one, as they did in those days, as a pet.
Yeah.
And actually introduced her to a deer that he also kept in. First time she'd met that deer, and teeth into the neck, hanging around the deer, and actually had to be prized off to get her to leave her alone. So yeah, feisty, scavenger cats, like a lot of small cats out in the wild, eating what they can to survive, so adapting. But also, yeah, not afraid to take down something bigger, because they are an amazing predator in their own right as well.
Exactly, yeah, whatever she can manage.
And James, for the people at home, sort of what's the equivalent of her size? So to maybe another animal or
I
an
tend
object?
to describe her as about the size of a squirrel, maybe a big squirrel. Certainly when I first started here, I'd never seen a rusty spotted cat before, and I pictured her approximately sort of the same size of a domestic house cat. But yeah, she's about a quarter of the size. Bear in mind, most house cats weigh about 5 kilos, 5-6 kilos. Nuwara here is only around 1 kilo to 1.5 kilos. So she's absolutely tiny. So the smallest cat species on the planet, and yeah, I tend to compare her size to something like a squirrel or a ferret. But you almost have to see how small she is in person to truly appreciate it and understand it.
Hopefully something that you'll all be able to do sometime soon in the future when we're open. And also, James, we talked about habitat, we talked about you know, an enclosure she's in now. So we've got exciting plans here in the future. When we can open up, we'll be fundraising again to build a small cat world. Small cats, big changes for these guys. We want to build some really adapted habitats just for little cats like Nuwara and the others, which is going to be a little bit further away than the centre of the big cat sanctuary as well. Gives them the perfect place to live, have the best environment to get welfare and care from keepers like James, but also for breeding as well. So for each cat that we've got, you know, there's possibilities for us to move forward with breeding programs for endangered cats like Nuwara. So speaking of that, James, out in the wild, Nuwara, not a lot known about them, like you say, but sort of how rare is this cat, and where is she on the list?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for these guys is we actually don't know anything about them. We don't know how many there are, we don't know. There may be loads of them, there may be very few at all. So currently they're classed as near threatened out there in the wild. Now that's not done by counting them as such, because yeah, as I say, we've got no true idea how many there actually are, but it's done more by looking at the environment. We know there are some elements of deforestation, some elements of, sort of human-animal conflicts for the illegal pet trade, things like that. So chances are they're just not doing quite as well as they should. As we've got advances with technology, we're starting to get more camera traps, more thermal imaging, that kind of stuff. So we're starting to get a bit of a better idea, but we still don't truly know how many there are. But it's important really that we're raising awareness about these cats. There are 40 different types of cat worldwide, and only 5 of those are big cats. Yeah. So it's all about raising the awareness for the small ones that people have never really heard of, because they need the help just as much at the end of the day.
Exactly that. And I mean, you know, we sort of mentioned before the cod and the black-footed cat, and there's flat-hooded cats, and you mentioned the leopard cat as well. I mean, these guys are I think it's one of their challenges out there is being mistaken for a leopard cat cub. Perhaps,
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
And being sort of killed because of the taking of the chickens and pelts and everything else that goes with that. So amazing to have a cat like Nuwara here as an ambassador for her wild cousins. But also, yeah, like you say, also potentially, James, one of the things we have here is about research, right?
Exactly, yeah. So she was one of the first rusty spotted cats in the UK when she arrived over here, and it's just great for us to know a little bit more about them, foods they tend to prefer, their activity patterns, breeding, for example, as well. Nuwara has never bred here, but just learning about that cycle, learning about the processes, and how they do best in captivity as well, so we can really tailor it to her, so then generations to come we know exactly what we're doing, so we can pump all our time and energy into them to get that captive breeding up, but yeah, find out as much as possible about them as well, because there is a huge element of the unknown with these cats. So they're such a secretive life.
That's it. Elusive, unknown in the wild, and also here. Rarely seen, but great to see her on camera today. Last lingering look at Nuwara there. Thank you so much, Nuwara, as she disappears that because there's no more food, so we might as well go back to bed. Oh, just out, just to check. But thanks, James.
No problem.
Fantastic. Good to see Nuwara. Good to see you. Thank you, Harry, behind the camera. Thank you for everyone for watching. Remember, there's a competition out there to win a chance to come here with Harry behind the camera and have a 2-day experience here, stay overnight and have all the experiences we've got to offer and be part of our promotional video. So only a £5 a ticket out there, that's running at the moment. Click on the website and you'll see. But of course, the most exciting news is the fact that we are getting ready to open in April. So be patient with us. If you've booked, we will be in touch with you. But if you haven't booked, then get on, because it's booking fast as well, and we're going into 2022. If you want to come and see amazing cats like Nuwara here, then you've got to book to come and see us. So there you go, ladies and gents. Thank you for watching again. We will be back next week with another live. Until then, from everyone at the Big Cat Sanctuary, cats, keepers, volunteers, trustees, staff, thank you very much for your support, ladies and gents, and we will see you very, very soon. Goodbye, take care, stay safe.